There is something magnetic about a woman who feels whole within herself. Not flawless, not perfect, not without shadows, but whole. And that is the first secret to becoming the woman everyone wants. You see, most people walk through life fragmented. They show the world only the parts of themselves that they believe will be accepted, and they bury the rest. They hide their insecurities behind masks. They silence the sides of themselves that feel inconvenient, and they try to fit into molds that were never designed for them. But the result of this is always the same: exhaustion, disconnection, and a dullness that makes them forgettable. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine a woman who doesn't pretend to be anyone else. She doesn't waste her energy in hiding or performing. She has embraced her contradictions, the moments when she is strong and the moments when she is fragile, the days she shines and the days she struggles. She doesn't split herself into pieces because she knows that both her light and her shadow belong to her. This kind of woman is unforgettable because when you are around her, you sense the rare feeling of authenticity. And authenticity has a fragrance that no one can resist. But here's the truth: wholeness doesn't come easily. It requires courage. It means looking into the mirror of your own soul and seeing the parts you would rather deny. It means admitting that you are not only the gentle, giving, kind woman everyone praises, but also the fierce, demanding, passionate woman who refuses to be silenced. It means you have shadows, desires, imperfections, and instead of running from them, you choose to understand them. When you make peace with every part of yourself, something extraordinary happens. People feel safe in your presence because you are no longer at war with yourself. Have you ever noticed how draining it is to be around someone who is always pretending? Their smile feels stiff, their words feel rehearsed, and though they may be polite, something in you just doesn't trust them. Now compare that to being with someone who has nothing to hide. Her laughter is free, her silence is comfortable, her emotions are not performed but lived. That's what wholeness does. It allows you to show up as you are, without fear of rejection. And paradoxically, when you stop trying to be liked, that is when people truly begin to admire you. Wholeness also brings a deep sense of calm. You are no longer running in circles, trying to fix, adjust, or compensate for what you think is missing. Instead, you move with the quiet confidence of someone who knows, I am enough as I am, even as I continue to grow. That calm is magnetic. It draws others in, because in a world filled with anxiety and performance, the woman who feels whole within herself becomes an oasis. People want to be near her, not because she gives them something external, but because her presence awakens something inside them. Now, here's the paradox you must understand. The woman everyone wants is not chasing approval. She is not adjusting her personality to please whoever is in front of her. Instead, she is rooted in herself, and from that rootedness comes freedom. She can love fully, because she is not desperate for love to complete her. She can walk away from what is toxic, because she knows she is already whole without it. She can stand tall in her individuality, because she does not need to shrink to be accepted. And this is why she becomes magnetic. She reflects the very thing others secretly long for within themselves: wholeness. But this magnetism isn't loud. It doesn't scream for attention. In fact, it's often quiet, subtle, even mysterious. You may not notice her at first, because she doesn't push herself into the spotlight. Yet once you feel her presence, you cannot forget it. She lingers in your mind, not because of what she wore or what she said, but because of how she made you feel. Around her, you feel more alive, more grounded, more connected to yourself. And that is the sign of true wholeness. It not only transforms you, it transforms everyone around you. The path to becoming that woman begins with turning inward. Instead of asking, what do they want me to be? You start asking, who am I when no one is watching? You listen to the voice you have silenced for years. You embrace the dreams you thought were too big or too strange. You accept the emotions you labeled as too much. And little by little, the pieces of you that were scattered begin to return. You start walking with your full self, not just fragments. And when you arrive at this place, something even deeper unfolds. Wholeness awakens presence. It shifts the way you move through the world, the way you speak, the way you simply exist in a room. Presence is the next secret, and it is the invisible power that turns ordinary women into unforgettable ones. There is a quiet mystery that surrounds a woman who has learned the art of presence. She does not have to raise her voice, she does not have to announce herself, and she does not have to seek attention. When she enters a space, something shifts, not because of how she looks, but because of the energy she carries. People may not even know why they notice her, but they do. Presence is not about being the loudest in the room. It is about being the most grounded. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who seemed to fill a room without saying much? It wasn't their beauty alone, nor their words, but the way they simply existed. Their presence lingered long after they left. That is the power of presence. It is invisible, and yet it is the most unforgettable quality a woman can carry. And it is born, not from trying to impress, but from cultivating an inner stillness that the outside world can feel. Most people today are scattered. Their minds are always racing, their attention always divided, their emotions always pulled in 100 directions. When you speak to them, you sense that only half of them is truly there. But presence is different. Presence means that when you look at someone, you are with them entirely. You are not distracted, not waiting for your turn to speak, not lost in your own thoughts. You are here. You are now. And when a woman lives this way, she becomes magnetic, because presence is so rare in a world of constant noise. This is why presence feels mysterious. It cannot be faked. It cannot be performed. It is not a mask, not a role, not a strategy. It comes from inner awareness. A woman who knows herself does not need to dominate the conversation. She listens. She observes. She allows silence without fear. And yet, when she finally speaks, every word seems to carry more weight because it emerges from a place of calm rather than chaos. Presence is also about how you carry yourself. It's in your posture, your gaze, the pace of your movements. A woman who is present does not rush. She does not stumble over her words or fidget nervously. She is not in a hurry to prove herself because she already knows who she is. She moves with intention, and this intentionality makes others lean in. They may not even know why, but they feel drawn to her, as if she is holding a secret the world has forgotten. The beauty of presence is that it creates an atmosphere. People feel different when they are around you. They feel calmer, more attentive, more awake. They find themselves slowing down, matching your energy without realizing it. And that is why presence is such a rare form of power. It influences without force, it captivates without effort, and it remains unforgettable without demanding recognition. But here's the hidden truth about presence. It is not just about how you appear to others. It begins with how you appear to yourself. A woman who is present is in touch with her own inner world. She notices her emotions instead of drowning in them. She recognizes her thoughts instead of being enslaved by them. She feels her body, her breath, her heartbeat. She is rooted in the moment, and that rootedness radiates outward. It is felt in every interaction. People often chase charisma, thinking they must be witty, charming, or entertaining to be admired. But charisma without presence is shallow. It fades quickly. True charisma, the kind that lingers in memory, is simply presence in action. It is the ability to be so deeply connected to yourself and the moment that everyone else cannot help but connect with you too. And notice this, presence is never about being perfect. In fact, sometimes it's the opposite. A woman who is fully present may laugh at her mistakes, may pause to gather her thoughts, may show vulnerability without apology. And strangely, this makes her even more captivating, because people are not drawn to perfection. They are drawn to humanity. Presence makes your humanity shine in a way that is irresistible. Now imagine combining presence with wholeness. Wholeness gave you authenticity, presence gives you mystery. Together, they create a force that cannot be ignored. You are not only real, you are unforgettable. You do not need to demand attention, because attention naturally flows to you. You do not need to compete, because you stand apart without effort. And from this place, something even more powerful begins to emerge. Once you are whole and present, you awaken the delicate art of balance, the ability to embody both softness and strength, to move between the two like a dance. This balance is the next secret, and it is the very quality that makes a woman not just admired, but deeply respected. There is a particular beauty in a woman who carries both softness and strength. She is neither hardened by life nor fragile in the face of it. Instead, she has learned the delicate art of moving between the two, of embodying both depending on what the moment calls for. And this is what makes her magnetic. She is not one-dimensional, not trapped in a single role, but fluid, dynamic, and whole. Many women today feel pressured to choose. On one side, they are told to be strong, independent, unshakable, as if vulnerability is a weakness. On the other, they are told to be soft, gentle, nurturing, as if their power lies only in being agreeable. But the truth is, the woman who is desired, respected, and remembered is not trapped at either extreme. She understands that strength without softness becomes cold, and softness without strength becomes powerless. The secret is not choosing one over the other, but learning the dance between the two. Softness is her ability to open, to receive, to nurture connection. It is the way she listens without judgment, the way her compassion wraps around those near her like a gentle embrace. Softness is not weakness. It takes immense courage to be soft in a world that often rewards hardness. When a woman allows herself to be tender, to show care, to love openly, she awakens a part of humanity that so many are starved for. People are drawn to this quality because it makes them feel safe, seen, and understood. But if softness is all she knows, she becomes vulnerable to being broken. That is why strength is equally essential. Strength is her capacity to set boundaries, to protect what matters, to stand firm in her truth. It is the steel beneath her compassion, the fire beneath her calm. Strength is not harshness, it is clarity. It is the ability to say no when needed, to walk away from what is harmful, to endure storms without losing her core. When a woman embodies strength, she commands respect. People may admire her softness, but it is her strength that prevents them from taking her for granted. Now imagine a woman who carries both. She is soft enough to let love flow through her, yet strong enough to never lose herself in the process. She can be tender without being naive, and firm without being cold. This balance makes her unpredictable in the most captivating way. You never quite know whether you will meet her gentle touch or her unshakable will. But you know that whatever she brings will be true, authentic, and exactly what the moment requires. There is power in contrast. Just as day is more beautiful because of night, softness becomes more powerful when it is balanced with strength. When she shows compassion, it feels deeper because you know it comes from choice, not from fear. When she stands strong, it feels unshakable because you know it is anchored in a heart that also knows how to love. This duality is what gives her presence a magnetic charge. People feel drawn to her because she is whole, not partial. She does not live in extremes, she embodies both. Think of the times when softness heals a wound words cannot touch. Think of the moments when strength protects a boundary that would otherwise be crossed. These are not opposites, they are allies. Together, they create a woman who is not only admired, but deeply trusted. People lean into her softness because they sense her strength. They respect her strength because they know her heart is soft. This interplay is rare, And it is precisely why it is so unforgettable. But here is the deeper truth: this balance cannot be faked. You cannot pretend to be strong when you are crumbling inside, nor can you pretend to be soft when your heart is closed. The balance is born when you embrace both parts of yourself. It begins when you allow yourself to feel deeply without shame, and when you also claim your power without apology. It is not about performing strength or acting gentle. It is about being both, fully, authentically. And once this balance is found, it changes everything. The way you love changes. The way you work changes. The way you walk into a room changes. People cannot put you in a box, because you do not belong to one. You are not only strong, you are not only soft, you are both, and that makes you more complete, more complex, more alive. This is why such a woman is remembered. She does not need to demand attention. She does not need to prove herself. She is captivating because she reflects something that exists in every soul: the longing to unite opposites, to be both fierce and tender, to embody the full spectrum of what it means to be human. And when this balance is lived out, something deeper begins to unfold. The woman who knows how to be both soft and strong also begins to radiate emotional depth. She doesn't merely feel, she understands, she channels, she transforms emotion into wisdom. And that depth becomes the next secret, the next quality that makes her truly irresistible. There is a certain kind of magnetism in a woman who carries emotional depth. She is not shallow. She is not surface level. She does not live only in the light of appearances. She feels life fully. She allows its colors to wash through her. She is moved by joy, by sorrow, by beauty, by pain. And yet, what makes her unforgettable is that she is not enslaved by these emotions. She is their master. She does not deny them, nor does she drown in them. She allows them to move through her, and in doing so, she becomes a woman of extraordinary presence. People are drawn to her because she makes them feel something they had forgotten: the richness of being alive. In her company, laughter feels freer, silence feels deeper, and even pain feels more bearable. She has a way of carrying emotions that awakens others to their own. She is not afraid of vulnerability. She does not flinch at tears, nor does she shy away from the intensity of love. Instead, she welcomes it all, as if every emotion is a guest that deserves to be honored. And this openness makes her magnetic, because most people run from what she embraces. But here is the difference: emotional depth is not about being dramatic or consumed by feelings. That is not power, that is chaos. True emotional depth is about awareness. It is about being able to say, yes, I feel this anger, this sadness, this joy, without being lost in it. It is the ability to hold space for emotions, both yours and others, without collapsing under their weight. This is why people are drawn to her. They sense that she can handle the full spectrum of life. Around her, they feel safe to be real, because she does not shrink from intensity. When a woman carries emotional depth, her relationships transform. She does not love in a shallow way, nor does she connect from convenience. She loves with her whole being, with sincerity, with presence. And yet, because she understands emotions, she does not cling or suffocate. She knows how to hold space, how to let others breathe, how to allow connection without control. This makes her love irresistible, because it is free, yet it is profound. And this depth is not only for others. It is also what gives her resilience. When storms come, she does not break, because she has already faced the storms within herself. She has walked through her shadows, she has faced her grief, she has sat in silence with her own loneliness, and because of this, she cannot be easily shaken. Life may test her, but she does not crumble at the first sign of pain. Instead, she transforms pain into wisdom, and that wisdom becomes her light. Have you ever noticed how some people avoid emotion at all costs? They stay busy, distracted, numb, afraid that if they stop for even a moment, the weight of their feelings will consume them. But the woman with emotional depth is different. She does not run. She sits with the fire until it no longer burns her. She feels the sorrow until it teaches her. She allows joy to move through her until it becomes gratitude. She allows love to enter her fully until it becomes transformation. And because she has done this, she becomes a mirror for others. She shows them that they too can face themselves and survive. This is what makes her presence unforgettable. She is not just interesting, she is transformative. People leave her company feeling different than when they arrived. They feel more alive, more seen, more connected to themselves. She does not do this by lecturing or demanding. She does this simply by being, by embodying depth in a world that often feels shallow. Emotional depth also gives her intuition. She senses more than what is spoken. She feels what lies beneath words. She notices the silences, the hesitations, the unspoken truths. She does not judge, she understands. And in a world where so many people feel unseen, this kind of understanding is magnetic. It makes people feel as though she sees into their soul. And that experience is unforgettable. But emotional depth must flow in balance. Without strength, it could overwhelm her. Without softness, it could harden her. But because she has already embraced balance, her depth becomes a gift, not a burden. It becomes her light, her wisdom, her magnetism. And from this depth, something even greater begins to rise. Because once a woman has learned to embrace her emotions without fear, she begins to discover the higher dimension of her being, the radiance of living with purpose. And this radiance, once awakened, becomes the ultimate source of her magnetism. There is a glow that no beauty product, no outfit, and no external praise can ever create. It is the radiance of purpose. A woman who lives with purpose carries something in her energy that cannot be imitated. She is not drifting. She is not living by accident. She is not waiting to be chosen. She has chosen herself, and she has chosen a path that gives her life meaning. This kind of woman is magnetic because her very existence speaks of direction, of conviction, of inner fire. Purpose is not about chasing applause or recognition. It is not about fitting into society's definition of success. Purpose is intimate, personal, and often quiet. It is the alignment of your soul with the path your life takes. When a woman finds this alignment, everything about her shifts. The way she speaks, the way she walks, the way she carries herself. She no longer asks, "What will people think of me?" Instead, she asks, "Am I living in truth with myself?" And when she answers that question with courage, her presence becomes unforgettable. Think about the difference between a life lived on autopilot and a life lived on purpose. Autopilot is repetitive, predictable, shallow. It lacks fire. But a life lived on purpose feels alive. Every action is infused with intention. Even simple things, like the way she greets a stranger or the way she handles difficulty, carry a depth that cannot be faked. That depth comes from knowing that her life is not random. It has meaning, it has weight, it has direction. The magnetic woman is not necessarily the one who has everything figured out. Purpose is not about having a perfect plan or knowing every step of the journey. It is about being connected to something greater than yourself. It could be a vision, a calling, a mission, or even a quiet knowing that your life is meant for more than just surviving. This connection gives you strength in the face of setbacks, resilience in the face of failure, and clarity in the face of confusion. And when you live this way, others feel it. They may not know your exact purpose, but they can sense the fire in you. They sense that you are not drifting. They sense that you are living for something real. That fire is contagious. It awakens something in them because deep down, every soul longs for purpose. When they see it alive in you, they cannot help but be drawn to it. Purpose also protects you. It keeps you from being swallowed by the noise of the world. Without purpose, you become vulnerable to every opinion, every trend, every distraction. You begin to chase what others want for you, forgetting who you truly are. But when you live with purpose, You carry a compass inside you. You no longer bend every time the wind changes. You stand rooted. And in that rootedness, you become both unshakable and radiant. Notice how the woman of purpose moves differently. She does not waste her energy trying to be everything for everyone. She is clear about where her energy belongs and where it doesn't. She does not beg for love because her life is already full of meaning. She does not fear rejection because she knows her worth is not dependent on being chosen. She walks with quiet certainty, and this certainty makes her magnetic. But here is the paradox: the woman who is most desired is the woman who is not trying to be desired. She is not chasing attention, not sculpting herself to fit someone else's ideal. She is too busy living her truth, too alive in her purpose to worry about approval. And yet, this is precisely what makes her irresistible. People are drawn to her not because she needs them, but because she doesn't. Her independence is not cold, it is radiant. It says, I am whole, I am present, I am balanced, I am deep, and I am walking in purpose. That energy is unforgettable. And purpose does not only transform the way others see her, it transforms the way she sees herself. She no longer looks in the mirror asking, am I enough? Because she already knows she is. She no longer wonders, do I matter? Because she feels it in every action she takes. Her confidence is not built on compliments, it is built on alignment. And that kind of confidence is unshakable. A woman who lives with purpose carries light, and light by its very nature cannot be hidden. It spills into her words, her gestures, her presence. It illuminates others. It gives them permission to seek their own purpose, their own fire, their own meaning. This is why she becomes unforgettable. Not because she chases being wanted, but because she embodies what everyone secretly desires within themselves. And when all of these qualities unite, wholeness, presence, balance, emotional depth, and purpose, you see the full picture of the woman everyone wants. Not a woman performing roles, not a woman chasing approval, but a woman who is whole, radiant, and alive. So what truly makes a woman unforgettable? It is not a single trait, not a secret formula, not a borrowed mask. It is the union of everything we have uncovered together. It begins with wholeness, the courage to embrace every part of yourself, light and shadow alike, so that you no longer fragment who you are. From that wholeness rises presence, the quiet, magnetic energy of a woman who is deeply rooted in herself and fully alive in the moment. Presence then flows into balance, the art of being both soft and strong, of carrying tenderness without losing power, of embodying strength without shutting down the heart. And from that balance emerges emotional depth, the capacity to feel life fully, to transform emotions into wisdom, and to hold space for others in ways that awaken them to their own humanity. And finally, all of this blooms into purpose, the radiant fire that gives her direction, meaning, and an inner glow that cannot be imitated or ignored. The woman everyone wants is not the one chasing attention. She is not the one sculpting herself into someone else's idea of perfection. She is the woman who has turned inward, who has united her fragments, who walks with authenticity, depth, and clarity. She is whole, she is present, she is balanced, she is deep, and she is radiant with purpose. That is why she is magnetic. That is why she is unforgettable. And that is why, without even trying, she becomes the woman everyone wants,